Welcome to the Lead Champ Pro Call. We typically are interviewing top producers. We're typically interviewing agency managers. We're talking about Lead Champ Pro and the features that we're launching out. Today, we've got the pleasure of doing a little bit of both. We get a chance to talk to, I believe, 6 different top producers, but also get a chance to introduce you guys to, it seems like, everyone's favorite lead vendor right now because I've never heard a bad thing said about this man. And I'll let Josh, interview him a little bit and pull out some of the, tips and tricks and secrets that he's doing. But I've never liked a lead vendor, if I'm just going to be completely honest. I hate all leads. I love all leads. This is a leads-based business, and leads all kind of suck, and they're all kinds of great. But when you're working with somebody who likes doing what they're doing, it definitely makes a big difference. And especially when you hear all the kind things that these people are going to say about Joel specifically, you guys will see what we're talking about. So, Xclusive Marketing Solutions. I'll let Josh give the intro in just a second, but Xclusive Marketing Solutions, general life insurance campaigns, as well as some niche life insurance campaigns. I believe mostly Gem Life and health life insurance for nurses and healthcare workers. So a lot of possibilities here. So anybody who's been looking for more of like a management style campaign, listen up, and I'll go ahead and pass it over to Josh.
Awesome, man. Appreciate it. And yeah, I'm going to echo that not only Joel, but this group of people that we have on today are some of my favorite people because they number one, they sell. Number two, they hit the what happened button, and they all, I think I've met them all, and they all have great attitudes. And you know, we can look at numbers, see who's doing what, and sometimes it's a little frustrating because people that seemingly don't sell send in the most support tickets, and then you have the people that are busy selling. Not that they don't need help, but they just have great attitudes, and they're just busy using the system. They're busy getting things done, and that's the kind of people I like to be around. So I just want to say to this group of people, I appreciate you. But yeah, to echo what Jamie said about lead vendors, it's a rough business to be in. I mean, as agents, I'll speak as an agent, we're picky, we're lead snobs. We want what we want. We want it yesterday. And the leads are seemingly never good enough. And so even the best lead vendors that we've worked with, we also complain about them. And just from a lead champ perspective, yeah, we get to see numbers on a lot of different, lead companies. We're not like, we don't have lead champ leads. We don't have like we only deal with this lead company or that lead company. We're honestly we're open to all of them. But with that said, we also hear all of the gripes that people have about virtually every lead vendor. I can't give you one that somebody's not complained about. And not to say that this guy is perfect or anything like that. All that we are saying is the people that run his leads sell, the numbers check out, which we'll share some of those numbers. And everybody has great things to say about Joel. And after I got to meet him, I think I understand why. Anytime that you get around somebody that loves what they do, they're really trying to actually do the best job for their customer, which is not an easy thing to do, especially in a super competitive environment. Um, and just cares about people. Like you're gonna attract good things, and that's Joel. That's kind of what I got when we met. So I just wanted to say some nice things to you. But my man, it's been a minute. I know we text all the time. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for the opportunity and the invite. I'm very good. How are you doing?
Doing good, man. Doing good. Good to see you again. I feel like every time we text, you're like somewhere. You're like in the Northeast, and then you're in Florida, and then like I never know where you are, but you're always working.
I'm home.
So
I'm home. I'm home.
cool, man. Cool. So just to kick things off, I just went and looked at some accounts in LeadChamp that are using your leads, and just from a text perspective, right? Now, if people are calling, some people call their leads, don't call their leads, call a little bit, call a lot. Everybody's a little bit different there. But just from a text perspective, right? Lead comes in, text goes out, person responds. In January, it looked like the response rate was 37%, which is really
Okay.
high for text response, right? I know some vendors, I'm not going to name names, but there's a popular vendor that is typically less than 10%,
Okay.
right? Some better ones are maybe 10, 15, maybe get a 20% here and there, and some that are higher. So what that means is if the response rate from text alone is 37%, you start calling them, you're connecting with like 50% of the leads. That's what that means, right?
Okay.
Which is like really, really good. Okay. And so I just to throw that out there for everybody, like when we like you know, when we deal with lead vendors, and we wouldn't have Joel on this call if we were like, yeah, we see his data and it sucks, right? Like that wouldn't be a conversation that we would be having. So we're having this conversation because I've seen the numbers and they look good. So we'll kick it off there. So a little bit about you though, Joel. Like, I'll give everybody my perspective of who I thought you were. So, we were Facebook friends. I don't even know how. Like, you're in insurance and you get connected with different people. And I would see your stories every day. And I knew like that, like Bryan Little used you, and
Yeah.
he's on the platform. Brian's a great dude. And it would just like, you were like Joel, the lead guy. That's all I knew. And I would see the stories every day of like people doing well. And that went on for like quite a while. And I know that people would do like demos or whatever with Nick, and they'd be like, there's like the different vendors. There's like Kaboom, there's Goat, there's this company, that company, and then there's Joel. And just got to know
Okay.
you as Joel, the lead guy, before I ever knew who you were. So, what is your background? How long have you been, in the lead game? What can you tell us about Joel, the lead guy?
My background is agent, so I'm licensed. I joined FFL in 2019 on the Mark Me, and I came to FFL from American Income Life. A lot of people here should know American Income Life. I was there from 2016 to 2019, and then I went to Mark in 2019, and then he had me and my team working some leads. We didn't like the leads. We went to telemarketing leads. Those got banned. Then I went to yeah, those got banned. Then I went to Cody's leads for like 2 weeks. Got frustrated, and then I said, "Well, I just need to find out how to do this so I can just run my own leads." So I just ran my leads for like 2 years. And one day I went into the office. I never used to track my numbers. And then Mark called me into the office and said, "What are you doing?" And I thought he said, because I had some of the guys in my teams that were still working telemarketing leads. I knew about it. I just didn't tell Mark. And he asked me, like, "What are you doing?" I was like, "What do you mean? What am I doing?" I said, "What are you doing?" He kept asking me that. I was like, "I don't know what you're talking about. Like, what do you mean? What am I doing?" He said, "Yeah, because these are your numbers, numbers were good, but you're not buying leads. So where are you getting your leads?" I was like, nah, I was just generating
Yeah,
my leads because, I got frustrated with the vendor you gave me. So I just,
yeah,
and then everybody started asking me and then it went from there.
yeah. Now that I mean that makes sense. Like that you were an agent, and I mean worked nothing against like companies that somebody's like they're a marketer and they start a lead business or any kind of business, but like you can just tell when somebody's been an agent and they've like gone through it and felt the pain, right? um so yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um so what now, I know that you, like Jamie said, run mostly like Gen Life. You do some like niche stuff. Like what's your
Yeah.
bread and butter? What works for you? And then for anybody that's on here that's like, yeah, maybe I'll check this lead vendor out. Like, who are you best to serve? Maybe who are you, not best to serve?
So I personally preferred general life because you get all types of people. Um, I also always tell people that onboard or are trying to onboard with me that general life, just based on people's perspective on what they think they may qualify for and how people lie, 70% is gonna 70% is gonna end up into a final expense. Or you get all types of people. Like Josh closed a veteran last night from the general campaign, general life. So that's why I prefer general life. I can make any campaign work. I have generated veterans before. I've done truckers. I do some nurses for some clients, but I prefer general life because you don't need to spend that extra amount of dollars per lead to get like any type of, you know,
Yeah, for sure. I mean,
demographic.
yeah, like, you can different people like might have their like what they like. Some people really like final expense. Some people really like mortgage protection, which is kind of hard to kind of come by these days. IUL or whatever else. But again, yeah, at General Life, I imagine that, you get a little bit of everything. You can tell me what like the costs are coming in on those ads. I imagine it's probably less than, you know, a
So
lot of
on average, I can tell you last week it was around $13, $14
okay.
last week.
Yeah.
Uh, the week before was around the same, but sometimes I have weeks that the lead cost comes at $11, $12. So
Wow.
they get more for the same spend.
Yeah, and there definitely is. I mean, like some agents are like, I just want the best, most expensive Cadillac lead there is, which
Yeah.
it's like that's a tough game to play. I could talk about that all day. And then there's like the cheapest, like we can get leads for like $1, but then, half the numbers are they're not working, right? But, 11 to $13, it's like that sweet spot where well, I just said that the response rate is super solid, but you can get a lot of them, so you don't even have to be that great as long as you're willing to just, run the play.
Yes. But let me emphasize that that lead cost is not fixed. Some weeks can come in at $15. I haven't had it higher than $15 in a while. Only time it goes higher than $15 is during the holidays. So, October, mid-October to all the way to December.
I'm I'm
I'm
I'm just
just
I'm just
fighting with Facebook all the time, like
oh
all the
for
time.
oh for sure. I'll say two things. I'm laughing at you because you're like, yeah, it's fixed. Sometimes it goes up to $15, and like there's vendors selling leads for $50 right now.
I know
So
that. I know that.
yeah,
It's just,
yeah.
well, maybe it's my mentality. For me, any lead that is over $20, I am not willing to pay for it. So I am not willing to let a client of mine pay over
What?
$18 per lead, depending on what it is, right? Because
Sure.
sometimes nurses are a little higher, but on general life, I, if I cannot, if you come to me and you say, well, I'm licensed in 5 states, and those states have no good lead flow, I'm gonna be upfront with you. Listen, your lead cost is gonna be high, and I don't want to work that because I'm not willing to pay that myself.
Well, and that comes from your agent background, so that
Yeah,
that makes a lot of sense. That makes a lot of sense. So, no, I love that. I mean, it's a simple approach, and there's different types of lead vendors, right? There's vendors where you can go buy per lead, being on a management. The people that I see do the best, and this just goes back to like agent training, is like you have to like automate your business, and a part of that is like automating your lead flow. If each
yes,
week you're deciding where am I going to buy leads, how much am I going to spend, what day am I going to spend it, when am I going to buy it, you know what I mean? Like that's just obviously if you're brand new, like you got to get there. But, all the top producers that I know, all the ones in Lead Champ that you see, putting in sales every single day, they all have some kind of campaign set up where the leads are just coming
yeah,
in an automated fashion. So, a setup like yours, like I'm always on some kind of management where it's just I don't want to think about that. So you just said it. I'll let you fight with Facebook so I can do what I do. Like I don't want to fight with Facebook. I have enough fights in my life.
yes.
So,
That is a
all
frustrating
right,
fight during the holidays.
cool. So I want to turn it back to Jamie. We want to showcase some of the guys that you're working with. Great group of guys. Again, these guys sell. They all have great attitudes, head down, just getting it done. But for anybody that wants to check you out, maybe consider working with you, what's the best place to go to do that?
They can check out my business Instagram, like all the everything that you saw on Facebook is there on Instagram. It's just Exclusive Marketing Solutions. I'll type it on the in the chat. Uh,
Yeah, yeah. Throw your number in there. However you want people to get a hold of you. Appreciate you being on, Joel, and Jamie. I'll throw back to you.
thank you,
Awesome.
guys.
All right, well, I'm going to go ahead and bring on our first person here. I've got Mr. Alain Gonzalez. Alain, how we doing, man?
What's going on, Jamie? Not much. Living
Dude, good to
life.
see you, man. You got such a great attitude, huge
Yes,
smile.
sir.
Appreciate you, man. Awesome. Well, hey guys, we've got Alain here, one of the many users of Exclusive Marketing Solutions. Alain, just give us a little bit of your background, how long you've been selling insurance, and what you do before this.
Yeah, so I've been selling insurance for almost 2 years now, like a year and 8 months almost. Before getting into insurance, I had like my own detailing business, like marine detailing. So I was detailing boats, that type of thing, like going up to clients at marinas and that type of thing, trying to get jobs. So completely different field, but we're here, right?
That's awesome, man. No, going from some sort of a blue collar scenario into selling insurance, I mean, that must have been quite the transition. But tell me about like what was your start like? You obviously did you start out running exclusive leads? Did you start out doing something else? Like what else have you tried?
No, so my start wasn't the nicest. I will say that. When I first got into the life insurance business, like, there's all these different vendors on Instagram that do your own ads, like pay me this up front, we'll do your own ads. Like I ended up doing one of those, like, paid this guy like $4,000 to teach me how to run my own Facebook ads. He put my card on Facebook, and I think overall we spent like $8,000 and with the initial fee, and we only generated like 50, 60 leads.
Oh wow.
Um, so yeah, so not the funnest for sure.
Wow. And then how did you hear about Joel?
So actually, the group that I'm working with, they've been using Joel, and one day they just introduced me to Joel, and I just talked to Joel, and I just love Joel, and I've been working with him since then.
Yeah, I mean the group that you're a part of, I mean you guys have some pretty big top producers. I mean, what's like if we look at the leaderboard, what do you think like top producer who's using exclusive leads is writing per month?
My guy Dennis, he did like 80 grand in the month of December.
I don't think I've ever heard of someone doing 80 grand on general life leads. Like that actually just kind of blows my mind. I know he mixes in some nurses as well, but that's crazy.
Yeah.
Just to kind of keep this moving, like work in general life leads, like what's one tip that you can give everybody? Because it's one thing when, like, let's say you're working a trucker lead, hey, life insurance for truckers, you're working an IUL lead, like everyone's got their little nuances of what works for them. Like, what's the most important thing for you? Is it in the appointment setting? Is it in the way that you present the options and you share things? Are you one call closing? Are you booking appointments? What's like one thing that you could share with everybody that would help them?
Yeah. So I guess with the general life leads, like it's in the name, it's a general life insurance lead, right? So I guess at the end of the day, when you get on the phone with the client, figure out what they're really looking for, what they want to cover, right? Whether that's a mortgage, whether that's a burial, whether they want an IUL, like really figuring out what they want, what product they want. Because if you don't figure out what they want, and then you go and you show them options and you show them a $10,000 final expense policy, but they were looking for $100,000 term, they're just going to hang up the phone, right? So really figuring out what they want.
Yeah, no, I mean that's huge. I mean, I think that a lot of people get confused. I remember when I first got started, my only option was final expense leads or mortgage protection leads. And final expense insurance and mortgage protection insurance, they don't exist. They're not real, they're marketing terms. Everything is general life insurance. What you're doing is you're paying for a person who's raised their hand and said, "Here's why I want the life insurance." That's all that's happening. And I remember when the first time I ran general life leads, these internet leads, I remember calling my manager and going, "What do I say to them?" And
Yeah.
he was like, say that you're calling about the life insurance and then ask them why they want it. And I was like, I was confused because I was like, well, I just assumed like it had to be final expense, it had to be mortgage protection, it had to be this, had to be that. He's like, no, just call them and find out what they want. And what's cool about general life, I mean, you said it, you'll find IULs, you'll find annuity opportunities, you'll find final expense, you'll find mortgage protection, And I remember like back in the day, because of like those marketing angles that you could have, I would sell someone some life insurance. And then I'd be like, okay, now let's go ahead and take care of your final expenses. And then they'd be like, hey, and also you've got a mortgage, let's do your mortgage protection. Like you end up selling three policies.
Yeah.
And to them, they're like, these are three different things. But
Yeah.
general life definitely opens the doors to a lot of opportunity. So I think the biggest thing I took away there is we just got to dig in a little bit to the why, and you never know where that
Exactly.
can take you. Transitioning to lead champ, and we'll hop to the next person. You joined lead champ a couple of months ago. Tell me like what has gone well for you, what's something that you really like, what's a feature that you think is really cool.
Listen, I just want to start off by saying the number one thing that I love about Lead Champ is the support. Like you guys are amazing. I've never seen a support system like your guys's. Like whenever I have an issue, I literally just hit that button and I just wait for a response. And you guys always respond. You always solve my problems. I can't be more happy with the support. That's what I love the most is the support. I'll never use any other CRM because your guys' support is next level. Like that's number one. Okay. But I'm sorry, what was the question again? What do I love the most
Yeah, I
about Lead
mean, I
Champ?
mean, support is great. Like, is there a specific feature that you maybe
Yeah,
use that you're like, this is the thing that I think gives me the edge with the client?
yeah, 100%. So I think my the feature that I love the most about Lead Champ Pro is going to be the automation on the show to approve, right? Because obviously, if you're producing at a high level, whenever you saw a client, you're running to get to the next client, to the next appointment. So your calendars are so booked that you don't have the time to go and follow up with your client, make sure that they got that policy packet. And yes, we can have admins, but still having that automation of the constant follow up with my clients is huge. The happy birthdays, the constant just like touch points with my clients, I've seen that it's huge and they love it.
Incredible, man. Well, dude, Alain, we appreciate you, man. You got such a good attitude. If we could have more
Yes,
people
sir.
just like you, we would love it, man. Well, thank you so much. I'm gonna
Love
go
it.
ahead and bring on
Thank you for having me.
Sam here. What's up, Sam? How we doing?
I'm
Oh,
doing good, Jamie. How's it going?
do you want to be Sam or Ethan on here? Because I know we got both.
We'll be Ethan today.
The Ethan. Okay. All right. Well, everybody, this is Ethan Acosta. We got a chance to meet him at the Family First Life convention here a couple of weeks ago, and we're just overjoyed to have him on the call. Dude, tell us a little bit about your background. You've obviously sold insurance for a little bit. How long you been doing it? What were you doing before?
Yeah, so I've been with insurance, I want to say going on 4 years. Before strictly selling as a broker, I was working at State Farm. I was like a little bit over 3 years. But before that, it was straight blue collar. My dad's a general contractor. He builds homes. So all my younger years was just, building homes with him, construction. That's pretty much my background. And then I'd say about 7, 8 months ago, I started selling life insurance, as a broker strictly.
Okay. So having been in a couple of different insurance background, or you had insurance background before this, you transitioned into being a broker, you've got a little bit of experience, multiple brokerages, stuff like that. Like, tell us a little bit about what kind of leads that you've worked in the past, like when you were doing stuff with Captive, State Farm, etc. Like, what was that like? And then in comparison to kind of your lead flow that you've got going right now with Joel.
Yeah, so obviously, with State Farm, the bread and butter of what we did was just auto insurance leads. They're not the best. We didn't really have life insurance leads, but hopping into the business as a broker, obviously, Line, he was running Joel, several other top producers were running Joel. So when you start with Joel, you get a constant lead flow up front. And as you guys just adding to what you're saying, Gen Life, you find the IULs, you find the mortgage protection, you find the final expense. So you get a wide range of variety of what you can sell. So those are like really good aspects about Joel. And also got to say he's great with the customer support. You ask him a question, he doesn't take 5 hours to respond. Great guy, great energy. That's the stuff I would say about, running Joel exclusive marketing.
That's awesome, man. I mean, I follow you on Instagram, and you're giving some good sales tips and things that you're doing on the phone. You do a little bit of live dialing on Instagram, so if anyone wants to follow him, anybody who's been on the call, you can drop your Instagram in the chat. Give us one tip. Like, what's like if you could give one thing? Like, I'm your new agent, I'm getting started, I'm doing some general life leads, and you could only give me one or two things that's going to help me be successful. What would you tell me?
Yeah, so I remember this clear as day. My first month and a half, it was a little tough for me, But what had kind of changed things, I didn't have that authority. I didn't speak with conviction to the clients where I'm the expert, right? The doctor patient analogy. I wasn't that person because I didn't have the sales under my belt. But it took one day where I closed 5 deals. It was a little bit over 6,000 in AP. And from that point going forward, everything changed. From that point, I had the confidence, I had the conviction in my tonality. So speaking like you are the expert because you are, what I'm saying is what it is at the end of the day. So once you get to that point where you speak with confidence because you know what you're saying is true, that's what changed my trajectory completely. Because now every conversation I go into, I'm the expert. I'm guiding you. I'm advising you on what you should do and what your options are. So speaking with authority, having that conviction in your voice and your tonality, that'd be one really big tip that changed my trajectory for sure.
How do you develop that? Because it's like, does it just like you got 5 sales and then it was just there, or it was like it was the repetitions that led to the 5 sales? Like what was it that got you there?
Yeah, absolutely. Even Alain would tell me like he's like, listen, you have to have in your head that you've already sold 20 grand. Even if you haven't, you have to have in your head that you've sold 20 grand. You've done the milestones. So then yeah, you're building up to it, you're getting the repetitions in, and then it's going to come to a point where you sell a bunch of deals, and it's like, okay, now I can talk with authority because I have sales under my belt, and then it'll come to you second nature. So obviously, you're not going to get that day one, right? I didn't know how to do apps, this and that. I wasn't good with objections, but you build up to that. But once you have that point of authority and conviction, that's going to help you. Things are going to change for you overnight.
Incredible, man. All right, transitioning back to Lead Champ, what is something that either surprised you, you were impressed by, something you really like about using Lead Champ Pro?
There's so many aspects of it. Like Align said, you guys customer support is top tier. I've never experienced something like that good before. I love the conversational aspect of the AI. Sometimes I look at the responses it says and I'm like, I wouldn't even come up with that. That's amazing. But one huge thing that I love, and if the person clicks on the verify my underwriter website, I ask them like, hey, did you check my credentials through one of the links essentially there? If they say yes, that's huge. That's my favorite part because, as everybody knows, selling insurance, half the battle is just convincing these people that you're not a scammer. You know what I mean? So when they click that verify my underwriter website, they see my credentials, they see my picture, they see my national producer number, the background, they see the licenses. So if they click that verify my underwriter website, your credibility is now to the roof. They know who you are. They have a little bit of background. The verify my underwriter website, that is my favorite aspect of Lead Champ by far.
Amazing. Well, I'll throw this out there right now as like a mini announcement inside of the call for people who stuck around. We've got another version of the Verify My Underwriter coming out that looks super slick, super clean. It'll be your guys' choice if you want to upgrade to that version or not. We'll give you guys the choice, but we'll be launching that here in the next couple of weeks, so you'll be excited about that, man. Ethan, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you. I'm going to go ahead and get over to Evan. What's
You
up,
as
Evan?
well. Thank you, Jamie. Take
Yep,
care.
absolutely, man. I'm gonna spotlight Evan. What's up, Evan? How we doing, man?
What's up? I'm doing pretty good.
Hey,
Excited
man.
to be on here.
Thank you, man. Where are you located?
So I'm in Texas right now, about
Okay,
around Austin.
awesome, man. How long you been selling insurance, and what'd you do before this?
So I've been selling insurance for just under 2 years. So I started my career at AIL Globe Life. So I was there for just over a year. And then I've now been with FFL for about 8 to 9 months, I would say.
Okay, incredible.
Yep. And then before insurance, I did like a variety of things. I worked like as like a laborer for a public works department. I worked like HVAC, just a bunch of like, jobs that you get right out of high school, blue collar, stuff like that. But
Okay,
I got
incredible,
into
man.
this about 2 years ago.
So going from like captive to broker, like what was the difference in like just leads who raise their hand who want the insurance versus like I don't want to downplay anybody who's been in captive, but
Yeah.
sometimes it can be a little bit of a different experience with the leads that you're working in captive versus
hmm
broker.
Yeah, exactly. So my thought was like, you don't know what you don't know. So like at the beginning, of course, I got into AIL. I thought it was the best thing ever. I didn't even know I didn't know what I didn't know, but the biggest thing was like you're calling leads there that, fill out a card for benefits, fill out a form for something free online, and you're selling to people that have no intent of buying insurance, with minimal lead flow, 30, 40, 50 leads a week. As compared to a broker, you're able to invest into your own resources and get, 100, 150, 200 leads a week and control the quality of the lead as well. So not just control the amount, but also control the quality of the lead as well.
Love it, man. With 200, like 150, 200 leads a week, like how many appointments are you typically running a week?
Usually I just call to close usually.
Okay.
I never had a system before Lead Champ that was like setting me appointments, but now that I have Lead Champ, I'm able to like actually get more booked appointments for me.
Okay.
So usually I don't get 200 leads a week. I was just kind of using that as like an example of you can get, X amount. I usually get around 120 to 140. But yeah, from there I usually have like I would say 10 to 15 appointments a week. I'm usually just call to closing,
Yeah. So 10 to 15 appointments, and then in
if I'm
between
being
those appointments,
honest.
you're going to call to close.
Yeah, call to close every time.
Incredible. I love it, man. What's like one for call to close? Because I think that's something that
Hmm.
some people understand well, some people don't. Like what is like what's your transition look like? You get somebody on the phone and you're like, "Hey, this is about the life insurance you requested." Like
Hmm.
how do you go from this is what you requested to like, "Hey, let's start the appointment."
Yeah, so like the first thing is obviously like the responsiveness, like having a lead that remembers filling out the request. You don't have to battle with them about like, hey, I didn't make this, I didn't do that. That's obviously like the beginning step. But then setting the frame from the beginning that like you work with all the carriers, you're gonna do all the shopping around for them, and that you don't make the decision on if they're approved or not. So that's the biggest thing is setting the frame, and then from there you just have to dig into their why, find the need for it, and then build the urgency of why they need to do this today and not, think about it or put it off for weeks or months.
Amazing, man. All right, what's your you said you never used a system like Lead Champ Pro before, so you were only one
No.
call close and you liked that it sets you appointments. What's something else that
Mhm.
you're enjoying about Lead Champ?
So I think the biggest thing is like not just stuff to make you the sale, but like post sale.
Hmm.
That's always one thing that I really focus on is being able to have automated client follow-ups. I was like really surprised when I saw we can literally send out mail to clients automatically. That's probably my favorite thing. They get a piece of mail that has your name on it, telling them happy birthday, telling them, happy holidays and stuff like that. That's really big to me because not only are you going to be able to like keep clients in the books, you're going to be able to work like their warm network, get referrals, that stuff as well. But then of course, the what happened button, being able to, cause I like to go from call to call to call to call, appointment, appointment. I don't like to just like make a sale and then have to spend 30 minutes texting, emailing, forwarding carrier stuff over to them. Being able to have a system that just boom, plug and play, copy paste, and it's sent over to them via text and email.
Hmm.
So,
100%. I mean, that was like my main thing when we built this is I used to give people the whole experience when I would go in the home and I'd sell and I'd leave behind the folder with the brochure, with the business card, with the selfie, save my number, let's talk to your daughter, do all the things when I'm
yeah,
sitting in your house, but we're talking over the
yeah,
phone. They don't know who you are, and I ain't got time to
yeah,
spend 45 minutes putting together this fancy email. So to be able to hit the
yeah,
what happened button, I mean, what's the longest it's ever taken you to fill out a what happened form? Probably 2 minutes. 3 minutes if
exactly.
you take your time, and then
Yeah,
click submit and you move on, and then, off to the races. And they're going to get touched probably 50, 60 times over the course of the first year. And even if I went above and beyond in the house, or I went above and beyond with telesales with no system, I was probably going to talk to that person one time and never talk to them again. Not because
yeah,
we don't know what we're supposed to do. We all know we're supposed to talk to clients and keep up with them.
right.
We don't got time. When you got 120,
Yep,
140 new leads coming in a week, you don't have time for that.
exactly.
100%. Evan, thank you
Yep.
so much for joining us, man. We're going to go ahead and jump over to Mr. Josh Rose.
Cool.
Josh, what's up, man?
What's up, brother? How you doing, Jamie?
I'm good, man. I'm good. Good to see you. Dude,
See
what
you too.
tell me about your background. You've been selling insurance for a long time. I'm pretty sure you've been with Family First Life since basically the beginning, maybe even before the beginning.
Yeah, I've been here forever, man. I've been doing this month is my 14th anniversary. I think I passed my test March 12th of 2012. So some of these guys are
Okay.
probably still in high school and who knows how long.
So
So
I'm
it's been a
definitely
long
interested in
time.
what you did before insurance, but I'd love to hear
Yeah.
like you went through I'm not trying to put it in like the perspective of like you went uphill both ways in the snow to school like our parents, but like you did paper apps
Yep.
and you did paper calendars, and
Yep.
now we've transitioned into everything over the phone with technology and digital.
Yeah. So it's been a ride, man. It's so that was all paper apps back in 2012. I mean, I was with a practice company before for 2 years, and then Sean started FFL. So, the paper apps, just running appointments, doing, 5,000 miles a month on your car, just on the road. I mean, the mortgage, and it was in the beginning, it was just hard. Like you didn't have someone telling you a system like, hey, get 50 brand new mortgage leads a week and then go run 25 appointments. It was like run 10 to 15 appointments, but that's the recipe for disaster where you're selling what, 3 to 5K and you just can't make money that way. So it's evolved over time, and then just seeing transitioning from going from the mortgage protection where you're driving around everywhere to the digital era, that we're in, whether it be, just the general life leads or whatever leads you can get your hands on the last couple of years. Then finding a system like you guys have to actually really automate it has made it a lot easier to just, like you said, like the last fella just automate it and just one call close everything and then do the appointments that are there and just, keep it rolling. Everything about the system has been it's been a lot. So it's been
With 14 years of experience, I'm sure you've seen some lead vendors come and go.
lots of
Um,
them, dude.
so
It's
how long did you work like mortgage protection mail, and like was that a hard transition for you to try other things?
I mean, mortgage protection mail. I mean, if I have to have a favorite lead and they didn't
Yeah.
cost $90 a lead and it didn't live in LA, I would get 50 a week if they're $50. And there was
Yeah.
that was just showing up and just helping people out. I liked being in the home. It was fun. But there was a transition period because it was like, you're dealing with vendors who tell you one thing and then it's a go around. It's like, okay, I got to try this. And then you're trying, like, there was a transition, I think, a couple years ago where I was just trying so many different vendors, whether it be like digital leads or like the IVR mortgage protection leads that I couldn't like really get a handle on that well for myself. It just, it kind of seemed to me like kind of like a bait and switch, but I just needed probably, 2,000 more of them a week. When you're having trouble, you probably just need more volume, if that makes sense. So it's been transitional. And what my goal was to start this year was to really have a system that automated it, have the leads, on a weekly basis. So Joel, they're showing up and then have the system with the AI capabilities of being able to, stay in touch with the clients. Because these are, when it comes to any type of lead that they're filling it out online. They're not just filling it out with that one vendor. They're looking everywhere. So you need something that's going to hit them right away to help with your contact ratio. Because at the end of the day, like I don't know if anyone else had issues like last September, October, like when I think it was open enrollment. I was dialing for like 8 hours a day, not, hardly reaching anyone. So I was like, F this, I need a system. And I'm mad at myself because I know Athena and like Zach sent me your guys' system last year, and I should have signed up for it then. Because like when I did the demo with Nick a couple months ago, I'm like, dude, I had a lot of chargebacks last year just because I did a ton of vet leads, and I feel like everybody and their mother did vet leads. So there's a lot of replacing going on, even though I'm probably right in the good business, but people lie to people. It just, there's shady stuff going on. Even though like in the home, my persistency was 90%, but now it's gotten, so that's why with this system here. I think I've had two cancels since I started it, so that's pretty awesome.
That's incredible, man.
Hmm.
So just to, so I, it's our system does some cool things that
Yep.
help minimize chargebacks, but it's not all us. Lead Champ's
No,
not going to save you from
correct.
chargebacks. It's not going to save you from people's business canceling. How do you write good business? Like, what's a couple good tips you could give?
I mean, you just got to really dig in to like what they're looking for. You got to set yourself apart from other agents. So like myself, I've been doing this a long time. So I'm telling people, I'm telling them who I work with, but I'm also throwing in there throughout the presentation, hey, I've been doing this for 14 years. I'm not going to be doing anything different. We get you qualified, you're stuck with me for life, So just little things to kind of separate yourself, because I'm not like going to sit there and build rapport with these people for 10 or 15 minutes. I got 120 leads coming in a week. You can't. So, but little things to set yourself apart, but also doing the right thing for the client. So if you know your products and like the health and underwriting, if you put them in the best spot possible and tell them, listen, here, I work through all these carriers. This is going to be your best bet. It's going to help eliminate those chargebacks. And then, the what happened next button, boom, they're getting everything right away. They're seeing your name, whereas other agents, they're one and done, so they don't hear from them. I can't tell you how many people I've talked to. They're like, yeah, I talked to an agent. I haven't heard from him in 3 months. It's like, well, with me, that's not going to happen. We're going to be in contact.
And that happened in the home too. Like I remember, I'm sure you had this exact same
Yep.
experience. You go to someone's house and you be like, "Hey, you already have a policy. Where is it?" And they're like, "I don't know, but I've got this
Yep.
napkin that's got a first name and a phone number on it with a policy
Yeah.
number, and that's all
Correct.
that I have." And you're like, "Okay." And then you go above and beyond. You take a selfie with the client. You leave behind a
Yep.
brochure. You're like, "Hey, let's make sure your policy comes in the mail. Put it in your safe. All that stuff." And then they're like, somebody comes behind you, which always happened, and then they're like offering $3 a
Yep.
month cheaper, and they go, "Josh is worth the $3. So
Yeah.
I'm going to stick with Josh." And I think
Correct.
some of the extra things that we've built into Lead Champ with the Showed and Approved campaign, where it's like, "Hey, here's everything you applied for." 2 weeks later, "Hey, did your policy come in the mail?" 2 weeks after that, "Hey, let me know if you need to review." And it's like it's giving them multiple opportunities where like the reality is like again, I said this up with the last person. We all know what we're supposed to do, but like most of us are either lazy or we don't have time. We're so busy that we don't have the capacity to follow up with all these people. So like
Correct.
I look at it from this perspective, even if like you don't have good intentions, the system will make it seem like you have good intentions. It'll send out a few messages like you at least are trying to stay in contact. Because the
Yep.
reality is all the time people be like, "Hey, I sent a message in and you didn't respond." And then like Lead Champ will send out two more messages on my behalf. And then at that point, like even if like I wasn't paying attention to my inbox, I can play it off as like, "Hey, but I did send out two more messages after that, trying to, warrant a response from you." So you can see like I at least made some attempt to reach out to you, even if I didn't maybe I missed that one message. So it can kind of save you a little bit of flack with clients there. And again, like you're not gonna be the person who ghosts your client and never talks to them again.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. What's one other thing, man, with Lead Champ that maybe surprised you or something that you find to be helpful?
Oh, I love the messaging, the AI, and how it's setting the appointments. And just compared to like I used another Go High Level CRM before, and they'd get a text or two to book an appointment.
Yep.
But the show ratios on those, let's be honest, maybe 10, 15%.
Yeah.
Whereas the show ratio on these ones that they're constantly getting the messages, it's so much higher. I haven't done the numbers or whatever, but when they're showing up to that call, especially like I love it when they're confirming, right after and then they confirm it the day of. It's like those appointments are that's a laydown. So like I had a couple of those already this week. And it's just you're just showing up and helping them out. So I feel
Yeah.
like the quality of the preset appointment is so much better than preset appointments I've had with other CRMs because I've used Ringy, other Go High Levels. So it's just that's been huge.
Little nuance
So,
that I want to just touch on for everybody before we move on to the next person is like again, like Lead Champ is set up to help with those things, but like working with a good lead vendor, like I'm going to plug Joel again, that
mhm.
has good response rates, that's generating good data.
Yep.
We have people who will go, "Hey Josh, the follow-up messages suck." And we're just like,
Mhm.
"Oh, like, okay, that was intense. Like, why do you say it?" Like, then we go look at their leads and it's like a 2% response rate. Like, no, we have other
Yeah.
people who have the same messages going out with different leads that are getting a much higher response rate, much higher show rate. So like it is that combination. So like one of the cool
Yep.
things about Lead Champ on the back end, again, is we can see the data of who's responding, who's not responding. So if that's something you're ever curious about, drop a support ticket. We're happy to go look and see what some of your response rates are. Our goal here in the next couple months are to have some dashboards where you'll be able to see, comparison of lead vendors, who's responding, who's not. Right now, we can run a little report for you. But Josh, thanks so much for
Yep.
joining us, man.
Thank you,
All
man.
right, we're gonna hop over to Jackson. What's up, Jackson? How we doing, man?
Good, everyone. How you doing, Jamie?
I'm good, man. Hey, where are you located?
I'm in Roanoke, Virginia.
Oh, you're okay, Mr. Velocity. What's going on?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Awesome, dude. Thanks
Doing
for
good, man.
joining us. How'd
Yeah,
you
of
hear
course.
about Lead Champ number one, and then like what was your background in insurance before insurance?
Yeah, so I'll go into the background part. I played college baseball here in Roanoke, Virginia. So I was a Division III baseball player. I was a right-handed pitcher. Senior year in the winter, so going right into my last season, Dave Witchard, you know him, right? He hit me up on DM and was like, "Hey, athletes are doing this, this, and this. You know, would love to get you on a call." So started, hopped on, literally no sales, no work, no nothing, just straight into this after the baseball season ended, graduated early May, then had a birthday, May 25th, went straight into it on June 1st. So I've been doing this since June 1st of 25. Went with vet leads pretty much starting in August under like Matt Chillery's system. I think
Yep.
that's his last name, correct? So
Yep.
was on that for a while. Um, and then just Bryan Little, actually. All y'all know Brian. Brian's been doing this for a while. He showed me Lead Champ Pro actually back in like June when I first started. We had a lock in. He was like, "Look at this. This is awesome. Like, you see all this stuff. It's still like they're still figuring it out, but watch in a month, it's going to be crazy." And we always trusted him. Brian's writing good business here and there, like always great, getting great numbers minimum each month. And then what, Brian, you'd say end of January. So like recently, I was like, all right, I'm making a switch. I want more leads per week. Was able to pretty much spend the exact same thing. So I'm, spending 1,500 a week with Joel, getting it all incorporated with you guys. Obviously, I love the what happened button, everything of that nature too. So literally Bryan Little was huge advocate. I mean, he loves you guys and Joel. So I was like, yeah, I'm in.
Amazing, man. So transitioning from veteran leads to general life, like was that different for you? Because it's like again, I talked about you had the built-in benefit of like, hey, this is the veteran leads, like the reason they're answering the phone, and then you do general life. Like, what was that transition like?
So it actually it was kind of awesome for me. They like people in our Zoom rooms make a joke like you're the master of the grandmas. Basically, like I like switching to general life leads is a lot more the females I'm starting to talk to now. And it's like, 65, 70 in that range. And it just feels like I'm talking to my grandmother. So it's all kind of the same thing. Whereas with the vet leads, it was a lot more males and like a little bit older, a little bit more banged up as far as like you guys know, like guaranteed issue that wise, that sort of thing. And they'd hit you with really type A personalities. Why are you calling me? You're not with the VA. That a lot of that type of stuff. Obviously, vet leads are very good. They have disability ratings and that sort of thing, so they have a little bit extra money. But when I was thinking about it, I'm like, I want to go Gen Life. Let's go everybody, like not just specialize. And I still will get some vets, and I'll tell them, yeah, I used to work with vets. Typically, still do everything like that. Have your, if you wanted to go through the VA, have those links if you need it. So, no, I definitely like Gen Life a little bit more as far as for me, just speaking to more females in that sense.
Yeah, no, that's good. I hadn't thought of it that way. I had sent Josh a picture of one of my notes from a trucker last night who was super type A, and I answered the phone. I'm like, hey, Bob, like it's Jamie calling for our appointment. Are you available? And he goes, I answered the phone, didn't I? And
Yeah, literally.
I go, hey man, like, did you say you answered the phone and then you're available? He goes, F you, throws in another slur and then hangs up the phone. And I was like, I was just confirming you said what you said. All right, bye. So it's like that's definitely wise to hear a little bit less type A personalities, a lot more females filling out the general life. What's like one tip you could give everybody about Gen Life for what they can do to get the most out of it?
Hit home the beneficiary. Joe, I love how Joel's leads include the beneficiary. That's the first thing I say.
Okay.
It's hey Jamie, you filled out my form. Pretty much you were looking into this life insurance. Obviously, you wanted to take care of probably either two things, leaving some money behind, or probably like the final expenses. You put down Marcus as your beneficiaries. That's your son. And then I just talk about Marcus for like 2, 3, 4 minutes. What would happen? Like you guys said, the why. Okay, so you pass away tomorrow. Is Marcus going to his bank? Does he have to take out, loans for the funeral? Is that going to hurt his car payments? Is he going to keep the lights on? So then they start thinking about the beneficiary and why they're actually doing it.
That's massive. I definitely learned early on that when you're working final expense and general life, mortgage protection, whatever, if you have the beneficiary, the goal is always what is the financial situation of the beneficiary going to look like if this is not in place?
Oh,
So it's
that's
like,
huge.
so you can take And it's not even like, I'm just always keeping that in the back of my mind. So like I'm painting the picture. I'm looking at their financial inventory, whether it's husband and wife, and you see Mark makes 5,000 a month and Stacy makes 2,000 a month. Well, there's gonna be a $3,000 income loss. Can Stacy cover the bills? Okay, Johnny is, Betty's son, and Johnny, works at McDonald's, and Betty's a nurse. And if she passes away, Johnny doesn't have 10 grand in his savings account to pay for a funeral. So it's like, you ask those questions and kind of find out what is the current financial situation and what is the future financial situation going to look like if they do not have this insurance of the beneficiary. Not
Yes.
what is Betty's situation going to be. It's what's Johnny's situation going to be, because
Yeah.
Betty's not going to be here anymore. But Betty's income's also not going to be here too. So that's massive, man. Any final thoughts?
Just kind of that last point, like the way I like to phrase that too is like, hey, Betty, what's worse for you, the cost of doing nothing or $2 a day? What's worse? And they're gonna say cost of doing nothing. Okay, let's go find something that's $2 a day. We'll figure it out.
I
And then get
love
some right into it. So
Incredible. Jackson, thank you so much, man. We appreciate you.
of
All right, we're going to
course.
bring it over to the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Bryan Little. What's going on, Bryan? How we doing?
I don't know about all that, but thank you for the intro.
Dude, yeah, I mean, you're like the part-time legend, dude. Like you're throwing up big numbers and you always got
Yeah,
nice things to say, great attitude. So we appreciate you, man.
yeah, thank you.
All right. So
Uh,
you're working full-time and selling insurance, is that right?
yeah, this isn't my screensaver. That's transmissions right there. I'm in the factory right now. Yeah,
Ford,
I've been
baby,
doing,
Ford.
yeah, I've been doing this for 26 and a half years. I got a few years left. I'm actually someone who doesn't hate their job. And I got involved in this 2018. Now this is in-home presentation, so to have a full-time job and go in-home on the weekends and do all that stuff, it was incredibly difficult. But I ended up writing like 150,000 part-time my first year. My first day I went out, I did not have any idea what I was doing. Wrote 7K, and I was like, "Is that good?" Everyone's like, "Yeah, I think it's pretty good." And then 180,000 my second year, and then I stepped back from insurance. I had to take care of some personal self, some mental health with myself. I was going through some things that I had to get rectified, get closer to God. And then my wife, I let her know, not this convention, but last convention, I said, I want to get back and doing life insurance. I've been called to that. And she said, okay, we just don't start until the beginning of the year. So I promised her that. And we went to the convention, and I went to Lead Champ. I knew I needed something that was like I didn't realize how awesome it was at the time, but I needed something that was a follow-up system for me that I could track everything. But again, I did not know I only saw the video that you and Josh had out. And I was like, I need this thing bad, because if I'm gonna invest $1,000 in leads, I don't care how much that thing costs. Everyone's like, how much does Lead Champ cost? I'm like, what's it matter? You're spending 8K a month in leads. This is so important for that. And that's kind of got me triggered in it. And I guess when Jackson was introduced, I was at our lock-in, and I was going through A2P hell at the time. And I'm like, this thing isn't running yet, but I know it's going to. Like, I know it's going to. So, and I think all things good to those who wait. So I'm willing to go through the bumps and bruises with you guys. You know what I'm saying? I'm a very loyal guy, and I just don't really see anything better. And I'd rather, stick with the system, learn it, go with the flow, and trigger it to my benefit and my clients' benefits. I do care about my clients. I just don't, like you said, you're not going to remember someone 3 months ago. It's just like it's not there. But then I'll get a birthday text, and when I see it on my phone, because I have the alert, I can put a personal message in there under that text. Hey man, nice to talk to you. So that's kind of it. I don't know what questions you want to ask. I'm a big enthusiastic person.
Yeah, 100%, man. No, we appreciate you. I think, you said lots of great things about Lead Champ. Like, what's your advice for someone who's maybe trying to do this part-time versus full-time? Like, what could you give them?
Well, I'm going to let you know, if you want to do it part-time, you're working 80 hours a week. Okay. This is not for the weak. This is a very humbling experience. I knew that I was going to retire from Ford, but I also sat down with my wife. And there's one thing that I want to be very clear. Me and my wife have she's very supportive of me, but I let her know that this is going to be rough, because I'm gone here. There's no rest for me. Really, I sleep 6 hours, maybe 5 hours a night. And then I get, I look at this. to come to work to my job is a privilege, and to sell life insurance is a privilege. Neither one of them are right. Neither one of them are right. I have my health, and I talked to my wife, and I said for the next 3 years, this is going to be something, because if I have a bad couple days, I have to go to work and I can't run a full time like a full time agent. That really hurts me. So I have to get better on the phones. I have to maximize all the tools that Lead Champ gives me, but also making sure I'm spiritually fit for this job. Because I want to match my clients' energy, but I don't want to match all their energy, because you're going to get beat down a little bit emotionally out there. And again, one other thing that I think his name was Rose, he said there's a lot of bad business being wrote out there. Lead Champs gives me that professional. It makes me look very professional, than how I want to look and how I want to be. Just to follow up, if I'm on the phone with someone and they can't see me visually, and I'm explaining a living promise policy, I'll shoot over while I'm on the phone the living policy packet. I'll say, open your email and read that to me. That's building trust in the relationship. And so that's really what it is. It's just doing a lot of things. You got to learn to do a lot of things. A little bit about a lot of things, put it that way. You got to learn a little bit about a lot of things. And Joel, my lead partner, by the way, everyone's like, who's your lead? I'm like, Joel, my buddy. I don't even ever say his company. I always say Joel, my buddy, because I look at him more like a friend and a brother than I do a lead partner. I've been with him since 2018. He's the only leads that I run. I don't run anyone else's leads. I frankly do not trust a lot of lead vendors, and I trust Joel.
Yeah, I mean, and hopefully you don't mind me sharing this, but I mean, Bryan's got over $250,000 in his book of business inside of Lead Champ, all exclusive. And when I say exclusive, Xclusive Marketing, that's Joel's company. So Joel's company does have a name. He's not just Joel. Xclusive Marketing Solutions, but only work in Joel's leads. Bryan, we appreciate you, man. Thank you so much for joining us. Nothing but a wealth of knowledge, and always a good attitude, man. We appreciate you. All right, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us. If anybody wants to go ahead and get with Joel, we can go ahead and drop the Instagram in the chat again. We're going to help him, and we're going to get him a nice little website for you guys to go to here in the short future. But go to his Instagram. There's a link in the bio. You can DM him, and he's happy to help.
Jamie, real quick, I want to let you know my persistency, though, and I know it has a lot to do with Lead Champ, is hovering over 90% right now, just to let you know.
Incredible. Well, let's end with that. Everybody, thank you so much. We got live dials going on today, so if you want to hang out in here, you can hang out in here. We've got breakout rooms. Otherwise, go out and serve some families and let us know how it goes. Everyone have a great day. See you guys.